There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. They're raging war on your spirits. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe. They're raging war on your spirits. Every knee is gonna bow. Stop fighting, throwing the towel. Why not bow now? Come be an alien in this nation. For 30 years, we've been giving that warning. For over 35 years, for over 25 years as a married couple, for over 25 years as a married couple, my wife and I have been warning y'all about this day. There's a war going on outside. The world calls it World War III. Heaven calls it the investigative judgment of the final battle of Armageddon. The investigative judgment. And this has been happening throughout history. And this investigative judgment that we are taking the world through right now is no different than the handwriting on the wall in Babylon. Dr. Martin Luther King said, a threat to justice anywhere. A threat to justice anywhere. I have a son named Justice. I have a son named Justice. My oldest daughter, her little god brother, is Justice. A threat to justice anywhere. Predestiny's child. My youngest daughter, my birthright daughter, is Predestiny's child. A threat to Yonsei is a threat to destiny. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What we've been trying to get you to understand is the wolves in sheep's clothing right next to you in all of your institutions are the same individuals killing your sons and daughters, wives, husbands, and family members, and you're pledging your allegiance to them. The religious institutions of the world have always been the Antichrist killers of the Son of God. And when you mix with them, they're targeting you, getting a forbearance, getting a deferment of the extermination and the justice that's due the unjust. It says the just shall live by faith. Justice is the root word of the just is the root word of justice. Once again, Dr. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere. Injustice is attacking the just. It's not attacking everybody in the world. Who cares about the unjust? Nobody does. Heaven don't care about the unjust. God said, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. You've been lied to by spiritual wolves in sheep's clothing. They've redefined what religion is. They've redefined everything. And you believe this fake, ignorant form of idolatry. God said you always must start with the house. You always must start with the house. So as for me and my house, My father signed up to go undercover, and infiltrate the Seventh-day Adventist religious denomination and bring the investigative judgment down on the head of the Seventh-day Adventist religious denomination. And it's handwriting on the wall, judgment time right now. Because when my father went undercover, my mother, my sister, myself, my grandmother, my grandfather, we all enlisted. We all enlisted. When my father enlisted, it's called the priest and the Levite. So y'all gotta understand this, first of all. There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. They're waging war on your spirits. The Battle of Armageddon is an everlasting war that's in its final stage. That's why the King of Kings kept saying, the Queen of Sheba will judge this final generation. So the final battle that will come would be the final battle of Armageddon, the last investigative judgment. So can you give me an example of when there was an investigative judgment in this war on earth? First of all, the battle started in heaven. Revelation 12 says, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels and cast them out. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for Satan has come down to you. So the war has come down. So phase 1 was in the kingdom. Phase 1 of the war. Obviously, the war is broken down in different segments, phases or quarters. If you like to look at it in football and basketball, which we do, because this is a sideline. Michael and his angels is on one sideline, and the devourer is on the other sideline with his children. So if this is football, we got a sideline, Michael and his angels. We got a uniform, we got helmets, we got a logo. It's called the Seal of God. They got a uniform, it's called defilement. It's called defiled temples. And they got a logo. It's called the Mark of the Beast. In their forehead or in their hands. Offense or defense? Offense is in their forehead. Mark of the Beast in your forehead. Their priesthood, the individuals who lead their priesthood, and they believe that Satan is God, and they're going to die ignorant fools of Rome trying to challenge God's throne and his authority. It's called Antichrist. The mark of the beast in the forehead is those who believe that the Antichrist is God and not the creator. That's the mark of the beast in the forehead. That's their offense. Their defense is, you coward spiritual lackeys who didn't study to show yourselves approved. And because these fake spiritual bullies threaten you and claim they got authority and claim you can't buy or sell unless you had the mark of the beast. You spiritual cowards. So we doing this trial, this investigative judgment, the same way that King Cyrus did in Babylon. Why? Because there were some chosen people in Babylon with Daniel who God had made a covenant with and said they was going to get to go home. So Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, his grandson was on the throne, and he said, who is God that I should be mindful of him? They ain't going home. They ain't going nowhere. They my slaves. I'll do with them what I want. And he started up a party to defile the children that God said could go home. And God simply called my ancestors, King Cyrus. In the same way we got Barack and Michelle Obama's abomination in the United States surrounded. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, all of them, they don't even count. They don't even count. They decoys. Donald Trump is a decoy. 13 years ago, Barack and Michelle Obama came on this stage to try and do a reset, to try and put a Queen of England, her children, she gonna die. Barack and Michelle Obama are telling them British niggas that they're gonna get to keep colonizing the world, that their bankers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, get to keep exploiting, robbing from the poor and giving to the rich all over the world. This is what Barack and Michelle Obama are telling all of the European welfare recipients. Well, we here to tell you, I'm here to show you, I'm here to prove to you that when we signed up in the beginning, in 1983, you know where Michelle Obama was in 1983? Go look it up. Princeton University. You know where my dad and my mom was in 1983? Princeton University. Who owned Princeton? She from Chicago. She from Chicago. You know where Barack Obama was in the 80s? New York. You don't get to come to New York. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. In 1751, Benjamin Franklin confessed that the United States is filled with queens and kings. In the history books, the British came after Benjamin Franklin in 1751 wrote a letter, a book, saying don't bring no more people of color to the United States of America. Because the East is filled with people of color, including Europe. 1751, I'll show you the book. I'll post it in the thing. He said, but the inhabitants of the lands are already people of color. And if you bring the people from the East here, the same thing's going to happen here that happened there. We don't have nowhere. We don't have no lands in the East. So we're trying to come to the West. So why bring more people of color? He said, let's do an abolition movement. Let's do a Back to Africa. The Back to Africa movement started in 1751 when Benjamin Franklin told the British, send boats, send military, and we're going to take people out of these lands, people of color, and send them to the East where it's already full with people of color. And we're going to try and claim that this land is a European land. 1750, they already confessed. And do you know the people, when the army came here, it's all documented. In Virginia, they put a law on the books called meritorious manumission around the same time, where they said to black sellouts from Europe,